Wouldn't bother me.
What do you do?
I actually work out in the state secondary complex, Secretary of State out there,
Okay.
specialty areas.
Mhm.
Right downtown.
No, I'm on Diamonddale,
Dimedale, okay.
the main complex out
Sure,
there. We
makes
we
sense.
don't even see the public,
Which is
thankfully.
nice.
Well, it is, but it isn't, because we've got so many stuff coming in from dealers out of state and everybody else out of state, and things like that, that we're working about a month behind right now.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. We've got that much coming in on a daily basis.
I spent a long time in secondary complex company I worked for, did a lot with the
Oh.
Yeah.
IT department of the state, so.
That's me.
I know, but I didn't know what it was doing.
It's just telling you we're live on YouTube.
Actually, I thought it said Gail. Yeah.
I was gonna say, she heard it already, something about closets.
Oh.
That part wasn't one.
Oh.
This is, well, I don't know. I guess,
We have three down here.
I thought that Fulford was coming.
He said he was.
You have 1 minute. Oh, 30
No, I don't.
seconds.
I was gonna say,
12
Well, we do have
seconds.
a forum. and-
You
So we're good.
send the cop out to pick them up, hurry up.
Right.
What do you drive? Is it Mike?
Yeah.
Somebody.
Hey, yeah. Okay.
Give me 5 minutes. I gotta change my diapers. I'm so sorry.
No problem. No problem. See you when you get here.
Okay, I'll be there in a couple minutes.
Bye. No problem. I think he forgot.
Sounded
I
like
think
it.
so.
It was very nice of you to have him on speaker.
I don't know if he realized we all heard that, but no big deal.
We don't care. You probably don't care.
He didn't.
I don't know if any of you watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, but there's a whole episode about that.
Yeah.
Being on
So-
speaker.
Should we start or should? we-
Yep, go ahead.
Okay.
I
so
mean,
let's-
you guys, it's up to you.
Yeah, no, I
whatever you
get it.
guys
Yeah.
wanna do. So,
So let's call the meeting to order. Let's open the room for public comments. Do I need, I don't need a motion for that, do I? So, all right, any public, John?
Well, I'd like to reserve some time to participate in the discussion on the marijuana update. If I can do that.
Okay.
Well, I have one other announcement.
Okay,
We're sponsoring a concert Sunday at 5 o'clock at the amphitheater, a group called Ragbirds. They play at Wheatland a lot. And they're a really good band, and they're from Ann Arbor. And we get a good crowd.
speaking of that, it's just talked about it. But it got canceled this year.
But
Wheatland was canceled, is
Yeah.
canceled this year. So. Okay. Yeah, good. Anybody else? Okay. All right. The minutes from last week. Do we have a motion to
I have
approve
motion.
this?
I motion to-
Like
I motion to
second.
approve.
Okay. And we need to do a roll call?
Nope,
Nope.
not on that.
Okay. So we're good. The minutes from last meeting have been approved. All right.
What you do is say all in favor.
Oh, all in favor.
Because
So
now we
do-
don't have to.
We don't have to do a roll call. We have, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, nay?
That's what you got. We just haven't had to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah. So,
Zoom yays
so-
and nays.
ayes and nays, yeah. Oh, can I use this?
You sure can.
Just kidding. All right, first item of business, site plan update for A1 storage. So I was a little, I know there were some things, but I didn't see anything about what they haven't done.
Right, so that's why I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little update on what was going on there. I really didn't have anything to put in there, but you guys know where we're talking about. Okay, so they,
It's where the asphalt place is. west.
No.
A1
It's
is
the one
out
that's out
here.
there.
Oh.
They
okay.
just redid a bunch.
It's
so-
kind of by the dollar store.
They
Gotcha.
added,
behind
they
it.
added the other one.
Yeah.
Yep, so last year we approved them adding one, but we required them to pave it. They have not paved it. We've requested compliance, we've called them, we've talked to them, we've sent letters, and our next step is the attorney.
Okay.
So, kind of just wanted Mike and myself to give you guys an update, see if you had any questions, but we did require payment.
Why the require, and not an argument, just why did it now require pavement? Because it got so big or because it just decided,
It probably should have had it the first time.
I guess that's what I'm.
And the ordinance didn't require it when they originally
Right.
got their,
Okay.
when the first
That-
structure went out there,
But now
ordinance
it's
changed.
redoing it.
Yeah, it's
So over
redone
the
the
course of
ordinance
time.
on it.
Okay. And that
So
was
the
what I-
planning commission,
Right,
when
yeah,
they require it, basically, in our ordinance, we require it.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Good. I mean, we've used it, so I knew it wasn't paid, and that's why
yeah,
it wasn't paid before, so. Okay. All right, anything else on that one?
do you have anything to add to that, or?
Just that we sent out our last letter on July 23rd. I got an update from Cassie last week that the city's been in touch with the attorney. And
I sent him a copy of the
Okay,
letter
good.
like you requested, but I didn't know they hadn't replied, so
yeah. and
I was
didn't know that
waiting to
either.
hear whether they had or hadn't before I had the attorney call them.
Understood. Yep.
So
Yeah,
once
I
we
think
get
that's
that,
what's in
yeah.
the works right now, so. Our intention is to,
Follow ordinance.
yep,
Yeah, because they knew that when they built that new one, it was part of the ordinance now and it had to be done.
I think we were pretty clear about it.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
They agreed to it when they got their final site plan approval, and then when it didn't come several months after the fact, we had a meeting with them and said, hey, this is what the ordinance says, you did agree to it, so let's be reasonable and set up a timetable for this to happen. And that was in the fall of 2020. The timetable was July 1st was the absolute do or die date. If you don't take action and pay or request a variance for that paving requirement, the city would take additional action in July. So that's why it happened this month.
My question was more just to
Right.
catch up,
No, sure.
what was-
No,
yeah,
that's fair.
so,
This was all done administratively, so you guys
Yeah.
wouldn't have seen this.
Okay.
anyways.
So I just feel like we need to keep you guys posted, so if somebody
yeah,
asks
yeah.
you something
Yep,
or whatever,
nope,
then
I
that's
agree.
helpful.
I agree. All right. Anything else on that before we move to proposed language amendments? Okay. All right, we're done. We'll call the meeting to close.
If anybody needs anything, there's a couple of-
Papers there if you need anything, Scott.
there's a packet here. I don't know who picked them up and who didn't, so.
We're on free.
So I didn't have to pick any ones, but I've got the rest of.
Oh, you can have there you
That'll
go.
work.
And then these two are new right there.
Yeah, I've got that, I think, right there.
Both of these?
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, I got one of those and this. That was emailed to me.
Yep.
It was just the rest of it.
All right, number 3, proposed language amendments.
Yes.
Mike, I assume I'm going to turn that over to
Yep,
you.
yep, that's fine. So, and I really will, I'll kind of give a kind of a brief recap of where we were last month, and then I'm gonna turn it back over to you guys for this outdoor use ordinance. It's the first one that we have listed here. Last month, we brought forward some amendments to that outdoor use ordinance. We included a lot more things than the original ordinance that was passed in 2020 had in there. Some of the things included retail stores being able to use some of the public right of way for display of materials. Additional consideration of if a certain use was going to use up some of their existing parking spaces, that would redo their parking calculation. And we got some feedback that I feel like, maybe I was kind of off the mark as far as some of the amendments were concerned. So I think where we kind of last left that was planning commission look over this language and kind of give some more direction on how we'd like to see this move forward, or if we wanted to even move forward with amendments at all. I think that, the original intent of maybe amending this was to provide for some flexibility for people that wanted to use their own materials rather than just the city's outdoor seating space. So I think that, my opinion on that is that, absolutely we should have some design elements in there, as in, maybe some color schemes, some
Right,
material
that's-
types,
Yeah,
or
that's
those
what we
private
brought up.
things.
Yep.
But aside from that, how much further do we want to take it? So I don't have an actual update from the language that was provided last time, but I really kind of want to just use this as discussion time.
So I've come up with a question.
Sure.
I don't remember us talking about it, but if we. And PDPs is the example that PDPs has that area. It's not encroaching on parking. It's not encroaching on city. They put a table there. Is that, I mean, does this ordinance affect them at all?
I
See what I'm
didn't,
saying?
I
It
didn't
would
think
if
it-
it, if we switched it or amended it
Yeah.
in May or right now.
with the way that they have it right now, the tables that they have are theirs. They've been there.
I understand,
You
and
know,
it's
and-
on
and it
their,
doesn't-
their
right.
property. It's not encroaching. That's why I'm
Good
asking.
question.
Can we go, you can't do outdoor seating?
Yeah.
No.
I wouldn't think so,
no, we-
but I don't
that's-
know.
That's the one thing that we
That's what
can't
I'm.
do.
We
really
want to
can't.
encourage that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
Right, right.
I agree.
I think that if they tried to put something else out at
Yes.
the main sidewalk there,
Yes. Mhm.
then it would have to fall under what we're talking about here, but with where they're at,
Right. Right.
that's all on them for their
We're
outside
talking
seating
about
anyway.
in public right away
That's
area.
right.
Yeah.
Like
That's right.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And I agree with that.
Or
I
if
just
they
wanted to get
decided
that
to put it into their
clarification.
parking
Also,
spots.
Fair.
it comes down to their approved final site plan, right?
Right.
You know, something like that ideally would be shown on
Mhm.
final site plan, you know, that there was gonna be some outdoor seating,
Yeah.
and, you know, if it wasn't, then, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, that could be seen as, you know, something that would need to be shown on the final site plan, but really, this ordinance follows exactly right. This is meant to regulate public right of way.
Yeah.
I guess going from there, did anybody have any suggestions or or about this? Do we want to, how much do we want to open it up, I guess, is the first question. You know, do we want to include provisions for more than just outdoor seating? I mean, do we want to make this a larger ordinance that talks about, you know, retail display?
I personally like the retail display, you know, like being down by the clothesline.
I was just gonna, yeah, because I
With
thought,
that stuff
I'm
that you
probably
guys-
only, we're
yeah.
probably only retail.
Well,
with our
between
racks.
you and honestly, like the library, taking out some of the racks at times, putting
Scott's-
them on the
Scott's wife
outside.
Could do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, having them outside on the edge of the sidewalk, you know, honestly, I like the idea.
I
I-
do too.
I
It's more
agree.
inviting. It's more inviting.
I agree, it makes it more inviting, way more inviting. It's like printing black and white or printing in color, you're gonna look at the color.
Right.
When you see something extra on the street, you wanna slow down.
Well, we've had customers literally come in by something
Just
we
because
had
of
on a
the-
rack. They have to try and come back.
Yeah.
Where's that MSU thing? We said, seriously, and I'm like,
Hmm.
here it is on the rack. Yeah, so.
Well,
it is-
and like Leonard's, they don't put much outside anymore,
Mhm.
like they used to. They used to have stuff outside all the time,
Mhm.
but they don't, I don't know if it's inventory or what, but they don't have hardly anything outside anymore, and that would be nice. So,
Cool number.
and for the seating, like you're talking about your eating, you know, seating and stuff like that, we do need, and that was one of the things, did you ever get anything with the DBW as to like concepts of colors and stuff like that as to what with cost as to if they wanted to buy them themselves? Like we were talking about, like the tables and the chairs, if they wanted to add more themselves, that was their own, you were gonna see with what it costs for the city as to like, if there was something, I would say like it would cost them less, but possibly cost less because, you know, the discounted thing, because they're getting it themselves, like we talked about.
I mean, so you're saying if they wanted to buy theirs, that we would buy them at a cheaper rate or something?
They, where you get them from, that way they could see about getting them at the cheaper
If they wanted to buy it, but
Right.
matched what
to
the
match.
city has.
To match uniformly with the cities.
Right, so I think, I mean, what you're trying to get at, I mean, is that whether or not we're gonna allow them to have something that doesn't match ours?
No. Wanting them to match.
Like if Tilger's wanted another set of tables,
Yeah.
if he could get them at the same price that the city got them. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, is what we
I
were
mean, that
working on.
was, I mean, we don't really, I mean, we have no way of even getting those same tables and chairs again, that was, you know, I mean, so.
Right, but that's what we discussed at one of the last meetings about that, was trying to make sure that they kind of stayed close to the same
Right, so
with what
that's
you
what,
got.
that has nothing to do with us. I'm just saying that if we want to regulate that they should,
Right, and that was one of the things that was in there, right?
We can, well, I think, kind of playing off of what I've heard, what I remember from last.
I mean, like,
meeting
we
was
don't
that-
want umbrellas with beer stuff
Yeah.
on them.
That's
Right.
exactly right. We can regulate that.
I mean,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I don't want to see, we don't want like a Corona umbrella on
Yeah.
a Detroit
But
line. I mean,
solid colors are okay, because you don't want just all red. I mean.
I'm just asking you what you
yeah,
guys.
Yeah,
I
no.
would say
What
like
you're trying
just
to-
solid colors.
right.
So non-advertising,
I think so.
Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah,
You know, that is
non-advertising.
more, that's for more of your sports bars and things like that, that they have their bigger
But I mean, our
establishments for
intent with this
outside.
ordinance was to.
You know, really.
What if Twilligers?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, yeah, no, I
And,
get it.
and
yeah,
that's,
yeah.
that's the thing. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want them down on the main street because people driving by anyways, they can gawk and possibly, they see something like that and you may have more issues downtown, so.
But how do you regulate that?
I would say solid color, no advertisement, umbrellas, something like that.
That's exactly what I was hoping.
Yeah.
for,
Try to-
was
try
that
to
kind
have
of
it the
discussion, you know,
uniformity
What kind of
of-
design elements do you want to see? You know, should it be metal only? Should it be of a certain color, you know, the solid colors, or, for example, that's great.
I wouldn't mind an umbrella that was one color each.
Oh, like striped or whatever.
Yeah, not striped, but yeah, I mean,
mainly
I
just
see, I'm-
non-advertising
yeah, mainly, yeah, that's probably the right way to put it.
for non-logo,
Yeah,
non-logo, non-advertising. That would be a better verbiage. I guess.
I like colors.
Even that's, yes, I do too. And I gotta admit, I'm having trouble remembering. I mean, it's been 2 months.
It's been 2 months.
I mean, so I'm impressed you're remembering the thing.
Obviously, I didn't know what he was talking about.
I can tell.
I'm like,
Huh?
I'm not buying that.
Us young pups over here, remember?
She's looking at, things, what are you talking about?
No, this is good direction, though. I mean, this really is what I was looking for. I mean, the solid color thing, that's great. You know, do we want to regulate material type? You know, right now, the city just provides metal.
And that's what I would think. You'd
You
still
wanna
want to
keep
stick
it.
with metal because
I would say metal, plastic
There-
fades, breaks,
well,
wood.
plastic, you know, it can blow around, things like that. And I mean, I hate to say it, but with the storms that we've seen already this year.
There's already enough dogs running around. You don't
That's
want any plastic chairs running around.
exactly, you know, and stuff like
Sure.
that.
But I like just metal, because wood can stain with food and whatever.
Yeah, and you gotta keep those clean,
Yeah,
especially
you
with
can't
a food
sanitize wood
establishment.
very well.
Yeah, but some of those things I think are up to the establishments. I mean, as long as they don't get trash, I mean,
Sure.
Yeah,
Right.
as long as they don't get trashy and,
But it's
Fine
not,
line,
that's
right?
not- it's
yeah, I know, I get it,
But
it.
it's not up to the
but if
establishment.
it's on the
That's what we're trying to
sidewalk-
tell you. This is
Yeah.
on the city sidewalk.
it's on the city side.
We're allowing them to have these in the public right of way.
Yeah.
So if, I
It's
mean,
gotta be
right now, there's not an
regulated.
issue, but
Yeah, there's no.
Right.
what if there
Right.
was?
Mhm.
So that's what you gotta think about is
I
that,
was talking about the wood or the metal.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
I was talking about, you know, I get it.
Good.
So,
I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, that's-
I don't know.
Another thought of mine too is just, you know, if you have painted metal, you know, outdoor furniture, sometimes that will fade and peel over time.
Right,
You know, that's something that we could work in there about, you know, that must be, you know,
maintain,
maintained as, and we can even list in there non, you know, peeling or chipping paint has to be consistent in that nature.
For cleaning.
Yeah, exactly. We could also work in something too, where if, you know, kind of like we did for the fence, and I know the fencing regulations, we are eliminating this option, but, you know, we could always put in, you know, that if somebody wants to request, you know, something different to the planning commission themselves, because they want to create the language, you know, I think that's reasonable. Would you
I would
like to
agree with
entertain
that.
that?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay.
Creative.
I think the biggest feeling that I got from our last meeting was just keep it simple. It's been working fine so far. We just want to open it up slightly. So I really do think, that says exactly the direction that I would go, would just be the solid colors for the umbrellas, metal material for the actual outdoor seating, for the outdoor furniture. If you would like to, if you'd like an exception, you must do administrative site plan or site plan review approval through the planning commission.
And we want to allow display materials.
Yep, retail, display of retail material. And I think with something like that too, Yeah.
Maybe, sorry,
go ahead.
like in at a certain time, so it's not out all the time, obviously.
I think that should be considered.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cause I was driving up north and this poor little guy had all these antiques outside and it sat there. And he wouldn't put it back in and I was like, oh my gosh, it's just looking like a scrapyard now.
Yeah,
So just go in and out.
I think that is a concern with something like that, is regulating that.
Mhm.
Would you consider something as long as the business is open, that they can have it out?
Reflect the hours of operation. I think
Yeah,
that'd
of
be
each
an easy
place,
way to do it.
some stay later. than
Yeah,
others.
that's what I
Some will
would
be
think.
open later than others.
Sure.
I think we have something in there now, because like with the sandwich signs or something, that they're allowed to be on the sidewalk, but they have to be taken in every night or something like that.
I think you're totally right about that.
So there might be similar language around.
Yep, and we can duplicate that here too. Just get real specific about it.
Sorry, Liskies. Do we want to put some kind of a regulation on what they can, I mean, do we want local routes to be able to put display stuff? Now, there may be regulations. I'm using you as an example because you're here.
I can
There's
honestly
probably
tell you, though,
regulations that you can't.
that's
but
not allowed as it is right now anyways.
But
Yeah.
but you get my point.
No, absolutely.
There could be other things that come in.
You know what I mean?
That,
No
yeah,
free beer samples?
Right.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, considering they do allow them to get it to go now.
I mean, you can sell CBD at like markets and stuff, but.
Yep.
You guys are gonna have a CBD little display outside.
At the
Probably
market.
not.
yeah.
You
No.
guys have a nice little setup in there.
I know, I mean,
Have one at the country market.
They're more than welcome to come to the farmer's market with CBD
And display their wares.
and just.
Right.
Just not on your own sidewalk.
Okay, as far as outdoor use goes, that's really good direction for me. That's really good direction for me. And as far as the retail goes, just must reflect the hours of operation. Is there anything else that we want to consider with that?
Let's see if I didn't have any notes about that.
It's a pretty broad stroke. Covered well. Let's-
Well, and we're still just working on this, so.
right.
Right. I think the big thing with the displays is just, time wise.
Sure.
While they're open. Like normal anyways, I know that you guys take your stuff in.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
No
before you're
racks
even ready
of
to
clothes
go.
out there.
Exactly.
That covers everything.
Exactly.
While the business is open. covers
So,
everything.
well, Family Dollar does the same thing. They put stuff outside, they put it back inside.
And I don't think we need to be like, you can't do that now.
Right.
Like hats and floaties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or it's hot.
I will make those changes and get them back onto you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. The next one was fee in lieu of parking. We kind of kicked
That's
that
that
one.
little short one right there. If anybody doesn't have it.
Yeah. I kicked that idea around. This was a suggested amendment by that Giffords Webster group that did the analysis for the city. So Paul and I had an opportunity to talk about this a little bit, and fee in lieu of parking can get a little bit more complicated because we're taking funds from different businesses as, an option to not install off-street parking. Obviously, we know in the downtown district, installing new off-street parking is a challenge, to say the least. I think the discussion that we kind of had was, what's the need to take funds from these businesses when really our entire point is just trying to encourage people to come to the downtown.
Right.
So this does look a lot, I know it's small and it does look a lot different than, this isn't fee in lieu of parking. This really is just a full-on waiver.
Right.
And our thought behind that really was that, you know, if we run into a situation where now downtown is full, now we're running into a serious parking situation downtown, we can always amend this and institute an actual fee in lieu of parking
Because
program.
for very few sites, I mean, they already have, there's no parking, there's 0 lot line.
Right.
There's nothing they can do.
Right.
We have a couple that can still be developed. We can require parking on those, but anything else is just gonna be on the municipality to try and provide parking where
Right.
we can.
Yeah, and where it's provided
You
parking
can't
is,
create,
is where
you
it's
can't
provided
create
parking
space
right
where
now.
there is
That's it.
none. So-
Exactly. You can't just poof, flip the building for the, yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
And this waiver would be it would be specifically for those businesses that are in the C1 district in the downtown. So, you know, when we're thinking about rezoning requests, that's something you really want to keep in mind, that when if somebody's petitioning to rezone to C1, this comes along with it. And if that's something that we don't want to see, then, we really do need to kind of look at our master plan and see see what that calls for. But yeah, this would just be a full-on waiver for anybody within the C1 district for off-street parking.
In lieu of the fee.
Yeah, no fee. Yeah, no fee. Just
Yeah.
upon request, planning commission may entirely waive the off-street parking requirement.
I mean, that was exactly what I
Yeah.
was thinking. I just hadn't voiced it because I wasn't fully up to speed on what it. I thought I was.
I would agree with that too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason for it.
Right.
I mean, we can't, like Paula said, we can't just poof, there's more parking there. And it's not gonna happen.
And when we get full enough that we need to start building parking ramps and maybe we can.
Right, then, yeah.
But again, it's just
Exaggerating.
gonna be on the
But-
city.
Right, then it's gonna
Yeah,
be the
right,
city.
Right, but at that point, you go, okay, businesses, we
Right.
need to do something.
Right.
Right, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a living document. We can amend
Right.
this at any
Yeah.
time. So.
Okay,
The other two were just ones that we have touched on in the past, and there was no changes here. I think we felt pretty confident with those. These are the fencing language and then the height requirement. Those are simple amendments. So I guess we'll just kind of.
The fencing one was just the type of, also the type of fencing.
That's right. Yeah,
Right.
eliminating the ability for people to do agricultural
Right,
fencing.
except the temporary,
Except
So do we
for
wanna
temporary.
Except for
review,
temporary
except for the
gardens.
temporary. garden.
we wanna review all these language, we'll get them ahead of time, get them to you guys, we'll review them again next month, and then
Okay.
schedule the public hearing.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Just because we're all trying to get back up to speed.
Exactly, exactly.
Reread all the
We
stuff.
missed them
and-
all.
Yep.
I don't mean to bring up, but on the fencing one,
Yes.
did we take out the ability for somebody to come to the planning committee?
Yes.
Why did we, help me, why did we do that? What was the logic behind that?
Well, I know that there was some history there.
I think it's because, why did we do it or why did we take it out?
Why did we take it out? I mean,
Because the
now-
problem was, we had let a few people do that.
The type of fencing.
The typing fencing, the metal fencing,
Mhm.
the-
Yeah.
and then, but they had to make it look all pretty and everything.
right.
And now other people are coming to do it and it's not looking, I mean, it just wasn't turning out like it was supposed to. They were looking really bad. And so
But that,
the
but,
planning commission said, let's just make them stick to the material we tell them they have to have.
We're limiting the material for cosmetics, the Plainsburg. Not
Okay.
too, we're not being like super strict about it, but just enough to.
but if somebody comes and has a valid reason they want to do something that makes sense, they have no recourse of how to do
The ZBA.
They could seek a dimensional variance.
that. Okay, all right, but that was really just why I was, right, so, okay. Okay. All right, anything else, Mike, on those? Height,
The
what
language
height,
amendments,
yeah.
no, that's.
And didn't we approve the height? Didn't we have that? Didn't we approve it to 35?
So we went from 35
Well,
to
it's 30.
40.
40, okay.
But nothing has been, we've just been discussing all these
Gotcha.
as of now.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think our plan was to package them all together in one public
And do
hearing.
one public hearing.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Okay.
but nothing has changed there.
All right,
35 to 40 is the current proposed change.
okay. And so the next meeting will have
Everything.
right
covered.
That's
everything
your
Read
out
it.
and go through and
Yep.
say, yep, we're good with this. And
And then I'll schedule a public hearing
public hearing. Okay,
for October.
perfect. All right, anything else on number 3? All right, number 4, I don't know who to look for on the update on 105.
Yeah. I'll start with that
Okay.
and then we'll go from there.
I'm running the meeting tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 105 Grand River, obviously, 2020, we had an application for special use permit on a site plan for a retail, marijuana retailer and a processor. They got an approved special use permit on a site plan. Never actually ended up going through with the license. Now, because the use never actually commenced, that is expired. That special use permit approval has expired. We now have another party that's interested in the same building. And they're interested in pursuing a special use permit final site plan for same uses. A retailer and processor. We don't have an application yet, but they are interested and I expect to get an application in the next couple of days. So I think that's,
So a couple questions, I'm going by memory and correct me when I'm wrong, right? Number 1, wasn't there a specific time period when they were supposed to put in, and how do we? I mean, isn't that time period passed when they could put?
you're right.
Yeah.
So
okay.
there was an initial window that folks could apply for these licenses.
Yep.
That window has expired.
It's expired.
It was extended last year because of COVID specifically. That window has also expired.
Yep.
Fact remains, there are licenses still available for these use types. So
Yep.
the city council wants to take it up and open that licensing process back up again. Those licenses are still there. People can still apply for the special use permit.
So the licenses were my other thing, and there were 4 licenses, 2 for retail and 2 for, no, 2 for micro grow and 2 for the other one, retail. And didn't the city council decide to get rid of 2 of those,
Micro grows.
the micro grows?
Exactly.
And how
So
does that, yeah,
yep, so those micro business, those micro businesses were eliminated from potential use types. So we went through the public hearing process to rescind that portion of the zoning ordinance. And it was also amended, the city code of ordinances, which is the licensing process, was also amended to remove those license types.
Yep.
What there is though, is there's still the original licensing ordinance allowed for 2
Right, right.
2 of the retailers for both medical and retail and adult use marijuana.
Yep.
2 processors and then 2 secure transporters. We haven't seen any of those secure transporters. We haven't really gotten any interest in that either.
I thought we were only had, I mean, you just mentioned 6 licenses.
Yeah, there are.
And I thought we were
But
down
there's
to 2.
Different, like,
And again, I may be wrong.
the transport isn't an
I
actual
get it,
location.
so take
Okay.
those off because we're not.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
not
I was
really.
full.
Maybe I need to bring you one of those zoning ordinances. I just have it right here. We can
There you go.
flip it.
So right now,
There's
we're
one
just
license
getting the
available.
update, and are you asking us or asking city
Just
council?
update, just update. We don't
Okay.
have any applications yet. There's an interested party. who's
But if
probably
we
one
get
of
it,
those.
do we accept it? I mean, that's, because it's not open, right?
Right, yeah.
So,
So
But the difference is that the ordinance allows it.
yeah, the ordinance does, for time frames.
Right, and there's still one available.
So who opens the time frames? Council?
council.
So we're just getting in now.
Just an update that the one we had
Yeah.
expired
Yeah.
and that we do have somebody interested.
Spiffy.
Oh,
John?
And we're very concerned about that. But look, I haven't met Scott before. And wanted to introduce my son Roy and Caitlin. They run Local Roots.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
My wife and I own the salon right here across the street.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
Good to meet you.
So just for background, the application process, and you correct me if I'm wrong, was open for 12 months, all of 2020. And we applied, and we're the only ones that have followed through, made the investment. And as I understand it, the council can open up the application process with a majority vote, 4 members at any time. Is that right? Correct. And the point on that is they can do that without a public hearing. So they could do it next meeting. And this commission, when it was being discussed about the micro businesses, took a position and recommended to the city council that the micro business licenses be eliminated. And the council subsequently did that. And part of the rationale for that was there were 19 businesses that signed a letter that said, please eliminate these micro business
Right.
licenses. Now, at that time, the Platts building license was still in motion. And so you couldn't eliminate that license because it had been granted and so forth. And then, I don't know if you remember, Jeff, last year at some point, you asked the question, how many marijuana shops does Lanesburg need? And at the time, Pete Preston said, well, that's not really an issue for the planning commission, right? Because the site plan approval was before you. But I think it's a relevant question to ask now, both here and throughout the community and at the council. And the reason is this. Once that application process is open and someone submits an application and they check all the boxes and get all the, and comply with all the ordinances, your hands are tied, right? Just like Dollar General. And so now I think is the time to have this discussion. And so that's why we're here.
So while I would agree with you, I'm not sure this is the right forum for that discussion. I think it's the city council that needs to, and correct me if I'm wrong, city council is the group that has to say, yes, we're gonna open this back up. So we will take, even though it's outside the time frame.
Yes,
But this is still a city group, part of the group, and we could still, have our say and bring it to council as well, and that would just be another,
The recommendation.
right.
Restart the conversation.
well, and that's really why I'm here is to, because this commission made a recommendation to the council previously, some precedent for you to have an opinion. So my request tonight is that you ask the city council to hold a public hearing before they open it up. Because once they open it up, your hands are tied. And so that's my request. And you probably know I'm going to say, but it's the honest to God truth. After 4 months in operation, this town cannot support two. And another point that Pete made during the conversation about eliminating the micro businesses. The overall theory was, the more stores, you bring in people, economic development. And Pete made a good point in favor of eliminating the micro business licensing. He says that economic development argument can go 2 ways. It can also deter investment in this town. And I know there are people that have an opinion on this. And I think they should be given the opportunity to express it before the city council takes any action. And so that's why we're here.
And I know there was a number of businesses that were not in favor of having a second.
19.
Four, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was 19. Yeah.
19, yeah. Mhm.
And And so right now, there's a window. Because the application process is closed up. Paula needs to tell people something. Paula and Mike need to tell, yep, can we apply? Yes or no? Is the application period open? Yes or no? And if it's not, it's not. And all I'm asking today is that,
Oh, and it's not right now. It's not.
correct,
I mean,
But-
some- there needs to be
He's
action
asking-
taken.
He's asking like, open this time frame and let the people know about it before you guys just.
before you
decide.
take any action, like, we would be
Yeah.
opposed to it, but you know
I
that.
mean, yeah, but,
But
but
still,
others may be. too.
others may be too,
For
others may be in
legitimate
favor.
reasons.
And it's a discussion. All I'm asking is that you go on record saying that you think a public hearing should be held prior to any action being taken to open up the application process.
I'd say that's a fair question. Fair request.
Is that within our purview to request that?
You guys
I
can
would say,
request
yeah.
Anything we want,
We
okay,
can
Anything you
recommend
want.
anything.
Okay, all right.
Council, it's up to the council to decide though, so.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we have a motion? Do we want to discuss it more?
Say we discuss it.
Okay.
We good here?
Well, you
Yeah.
know,
I agree with it. I mean, I'm all for getting people's input for things like this. I think we've had that input. Has
That
already
was,
come
yeah,
in.
that was for the 4, but it might be good to bring it all out in the open and be like, hey, we're just looking for, do we want to open it for one more? It would be good just to bring it before the people and be like, hey, we're just gonna do this. So we get it.
But I think I mean, that time period was just opened up the first time, like, so we knew if we were gonna have a whole bunch of them come in.
I think that was really.
I think the concern
intent
was
of
that,
it.
we wanted to be able to not just like have to take the first, that would give us time, but I don't
Yeah.
think there's anything in the ordinance that requires that.
So, yeah, I think you're spot on, Paul.
No,
mean,
I
that
don't
was
think
really
the
intent
ordinance
of-
requires that the city council relook at opening that window up. I mean, I kind of think it's just open.
Say that again.
We like originally, like when we didn't have the application
yep.
ready, we said, well, look, when we first take these, we're gonna set up a window that
Mhm.
says we're gonna take applications from X to,
Yep. Yep.
Well, that
Expecting
time
to get A
expired.
lot of them.
Yeah.
And then you
Right.
pick the best
Right.
businesses.
Right, but I don't think there's anything in our ordinance that says we have to have that window.
Right.
So you're
Open
saying they
Right.
can freely get a license?
Our
right now?
ordinance says we can have two.
Right.
So there's legitimately one open. I don't know that there's anything that says they have to reopen that window.
So what's the norm for that if there's an open license? Is
Well,
that
so-
a window like with insurance where it's, once a year that you can open type thing?
Well, we didn't put that
How's
in
work?
the language. I don't think that's in the ordinance. I
Is
think
there a way
that
to
was
find
just
that out?
our procedure.
Well, there-
Absolutely, if there's a way to find that out. I don't
I'm-
have it.
I mean,
No, no,
I'm looking at
understand
the
that.
ordinance online.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, we have, marijuana ordinance and if
It
there's
is
a
says
permit
right too,
required, and then, but it doesn't say in the ordinance that the city council has to open a window.
yeah, I get it.
It
was
was
just
open a
a-
window for applications.
Correct. That was just like our procedure the first time we did it.
But on July 3rd, there was a resolution passed that opened up window and with an expiration date of December 31st.
Right, and that was for our first round of applicants,
Well, it didn't limit it to that, just,
but it did not limit it to that.
but it does say expires December 31st.
Right, but our ordinance does not say the city council has to do that. It was just a
No, the city
procedure.
council can do whatever they want. That's my whole point.
It was just a procedure.
That's right. That's right.
So really what you're asking is not so much about the timing of the application, it's before a second application is accepted to have a
Public hearing.
public
hearing.
hearing.
Well, we would have to have a public hearing on site plan.
But then it's too late. That's what happened with Dollar General. If somebody turns in an application that checks all the boxes.
We couldn't stop Dollar General any more than we could stop a new home from being
That's
built.
my point.
That's what he's saying. He's saying Dollar General came in and everything was good on their part, so they're in. He's saying if we had a closed time frame, which we don't, or I don't know. He's saying that the next person with marijuana could come in and just be all right and check all the boxes, and then they'll just be in.
So
too.
he's asking you to change the ordinance then.
He's
No, I'm
asking us just to look and say like, hey, can we let the people know, the community know before we bring it up? But I guess, yeah, I'm understanding that if it's in the ordinance, this and that. I think he just wants the city to know, the people.
I mean, if it's an allowed use by right to put a restaurant in downtown and another restaurant wants to come in, are you saying the city council should get everybody's opinion on whether another restaurant can come in or not?
If that's true.
I think the marijuana, I think this is, you ask people, this is different than a restaurant. In fact, as I understood, when this was being drafted, that many of the people that were drafting it a year and a half ago only wanted one store, but they allowed for two because for some, legal reason or something. But other communities are only allowing one. Bath Township just passed an ordinance to allow one.
Well, so the option is to change the ordinance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Is what I'm
Which would be
trying
the
to
only
get
way that
at.
we would be able to
Right.
do that.
So we would need to change the ordinance to say we will only allow one marijuana shop.
And you
know,
just said you weren't
Yeah.
asking them to change the ordinance, but that's the
But he
only
didn't
way
know
to
about the
stop it.
time frame, so him not knowing, thinking that the time frame
Right.
was just closed, he thought that, oh, there's a
What
point
I'm asking is that you allow the public comment
to know.
before you open up the application.
Yeah, but what Paul is saying is there is, and I don't know the right answer to this, but what Paul is saying is that there is no restriction on the application.
Right.
Even though there
It is
was.
confusing, I
there-
see it.
yeah.
We said there
Right.
was, but then there's not. and then-
Right.
But it's not in the
Yeah.
ordinance.
I know, but
Right.
it's, yeah.
Right, so it's not like a required by law in the
Right.
application.
I know that there was a resolution passed that it said that applications must be submitted prior to December 31st.
So.
And that was from the first round. So we extended that first round to December 31st.
Doesn't matter if it's first round or second round or third round. The resolution is very clear. Applications must be submitted by December 31st, 2020. I don't have the resolution number, but I can look it up. It's your July
I
3rd.
probably wrote it, so.
Minutes.
And so I would think that if there was a resolution that said it was closed, there needs to be something that reopens.
Exactly.
I mean, there was a reason why it was closed, and I get it, it was first round, but
So if you're the guy coming to us and wants to use one of those other licenses, what's your option?
Yeah, I guess I'm not even sure. So,
See, that's where I'm
I'd
getting
say we
really
just-
confused on here with you talking about first round, second round, things like that. But I mean, I get what you're saying.
Right,
We all
we
get
didn't
it,
know
we
the
just
need to
first
figure it
time we
out.
opened it up, we'd get 100 applications.
Right, and I
So
totally
that's why
understand
that-
that myself too, but I'm still
Right.
getting really confused here about the fact of, just like he's stating,
so
that there was a time frame on those applications, but there was nothing said about we could add another time frame.
yeah, here's how I'm looking at it. There's a light switch, right? Light switch is on, accept applications are off, don't accept applications. As of
Right.
December 31st, 2020, that light switch got turned off. Something needs to happen to turn that back on.
Right, and which he's talking
I
about,
agree.
that's
Right, I
the
mean-
city council
The
that,
city council can do that without a public hearing.
Right, yeah, I don't know, I mean,
and that's part of, but that's part of the regulations, correct? The stipulations that that is their option of doing that.
So the licenses, I mean, that's set, right? That's set in stone.
Right,
Yeah, that's- that's
right,
what
but
it was too.
the licenses
resolution.
are, but the resolution of accepting another application or time frame, they can open that up at any time themselves.
That's right.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
And that's why I'm here.
Right.
and so I'll share a story. I had a business law class way back when, and the guy was a lawyer, and he always said, always sue, right? You can always sue. Doesn't mean you're gonna win. people can always put in an application,
Right,
doesn't mean that it's gonna be accepted. I mean,
right.
so back to your question about somebody that wants to, they can always put in an application and come here and say, hey, we want to change this.
Right,
we-
so they're
we
gonna
can-"
do the same thing.
They're gonna do
come
the
here
same
and
thing.
Plead their
Yeah.
case, just
Yep,
like
yep,
John
right.
is,
Yep,
and
yep,
we're
no,
gonna
I
be in
get
the
it.
same predicament,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we have 2 licenses available.
Right.
And that's why they have that option of opening it back up for accepting applications and things like that at any time.
So I move. As, well, hold on, give me a second to say this, that was a lot. I move that if it needs to be reopened by council, that they tell the public about it, public hearing first before opening. If they do not, I don't know. I still would like the community to know anyway.
Well,
I think given the 19 businesses and so forth, that's just good government.
Mhm. Yeah, the whole LDCA and everything.
DDA,
so then what we should recommend to the council is that we eliminate 1 license and we only have 1 license.
So then we would have
I'm not even
two.
asking that. I'm just, yeah.
That's but that's the.
I know, we're veering off.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that's
Then we would
what I
have
think
to
the 19
propose to.
businesses wanted, right? I know it was going from 4 and the misunderstanding down to 2, but I think everybody on that signed that only wanted 1 shop. I think that was their message that they were trying to send. I may be wrong. Right, but
It is a confusing one because it is a new thing. We've never experienced this before. It's all new and it's not like a cheeseburger stand.
right, right.
Pizza shop.
So how do we find out if something has to happen to open up the application? How can we answer that? See what I'm asking? See what I'm, see?
I see what you mean, and I don't have an answer for
Probably have
you.
to hire an
I just don't.
attorney.
I don't know if we get hired.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know how to straighten this.
But either way, that's up to council. It's not
Right.
Right.
here.
I was just gonna say, we can always punt and say council. you
This is the place to
decide."
start the conversation.
Right. Keep in mind, anybody that wants to get a license, you will see them. You will
Right,
have to get
sure.
a special use permit. You will have to get a final site plan approved by the planning commission. Right.
Yeah, but
That's
I'll
a
agree
lot of
with,
stuff to look at too, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll agree with John that when it comes in here, if they have all the check boxes checked, we have to approve it.
Oh, sure.
I mean, that's,
Absolutely.
So again, all I'm asking is that you ask council to hold a public hearing before they take any action.
I'm opening it
Accepting
back
a
up
license.
for another application.
No.
And that's.
so we have a motion on the table
Yep.
to do exactly that, before opening up.
Any second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All not in favor?
Oh,
All opposed? Can I say not in favor?
Yeah.
All opposed? All right,
Same
All right.
thing.
yeah, same thing.
Verbiage is just verbiage.
Verbiage is verbiage. yeah.
They're only words.
All opposed, yeah, that's right.
And they all go together at one point, but
All right, anything else on that? Okay,
I think we're done.
yeah. Number 5, language for regulation of food trucks.
Yeah, so this was sent out to everybody on Friday. This is really, we're not trying to go above and beyond here on regulating these folks. We want to create framework so that those people that want to operate food trucks, specifically that want to operate either potentially in the public right of way, there is regulations on top of that. Keep in mind, food trucks are heavily regulated by the state of Michigan and by the county health department. So when they come to you and you're requesting a license for that, you are not the first people to look at this overall operation. It's written right now to really be done administratively. But it does also give the city some teeth to pull that away if they're creating a nuisance.
I mean, if some food truck pulled up here and they got a rickety old,
Right.
you know, I mean, if there was an issue, you would want to be able
Made
to
out of
do something with
pallets.
it. Well, what I think of is we
Oh,
used to,
geez.
we used to have that, pet clinic that came into town and they would park in the street there and, you know, fix.
They can come to the market.
So why is this any different than if we have food trucks for the farmer's market, or we have food trucks for music in the park, or food trucks for movies in the park?
But that is what this is for, is actually the license to be able to do that, because we didn't have it before.
The same thing
Okay.
as for why we amended the language for the fencing.
Okay.
Because now if there's something that we don't think becomes law, we.
Gotcha.
Well, we're starting to get more and more food trucks.
Yeah,
Definitely
right,
are.
right.
And we are also considering having food trucks that would stick around. Right?
Mhm.
So in order to move forward with that, it would be nice to know that it's okay to have food trucks.
Right.
I mean, I'm not trying to regulate them away. I'm trying to regulate them to stay.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, because you've got a lot of areas where they actually have food trucks
I mean,
that
it would be
sit
nice that we could have
in one
like a,
spot.
yeah, like we could have
You
an
know,
area for
yeah.
food trucks.
Let's taco.
Exactly,
And so-
exactly.
So,
That's kind of what we're looking at, is ways
Yeah.
to be able to
Yeah.
allow them.
so I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. You guys tell me I'm all wet, right?
The bars are
That's
gonna be
right.
mad when we
No.
hear it.
Yeah, no, well, no, I'm gonna go a different direction. I would kind of, I think Langsburg has one restaurant,
Correct.
PDP's, right?
Twilligers is the number one.
Twilligers is a bar.
But Twilligers
that
is a
It
bar.
serves
is, but
food.
it's the number one restaurant in
Oh,
Oh,
Langsberg.
gotcha,
Absolutely.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Number one
PDP's is a pizzeria, right?
Yeah,
It's not, I mean, Tammy's is a bakery that serves food, right?
Right.
The last thing we need to do, the first thing we need to put a positive spin on this. The first thing we need to do is start encouraging more restaurants to come into this town. that will be
Amen.
here
oh,
all
Well,
year
I-
Okay,
round,
so now
right?
listen then, the actuality is, if we authorize food trucks to park somewhere and be an incubator for them to turn into brick and mortar, because we're
Right.
not attracting the people right now.
Well, again,
Which
So
is
it
a-
would
yeah.
be, well, right now, what we're
So
doing is
is-
we're shoving everybody to Lansing or Perry or St. John's to
Yep.
eat,
Yep.
because we don't have
We
enough
don't have
places that.
Right.
But is that what's gonna happen? Or are people gonna say, I might invest in a restaurant there, but all these food trucks are here, so.
yeah, but I
Which
don't
is a
think you're gonna
fair
have,
question.
I've been here
I mean,
20
that's-
years and I
yeah.
haven't seen any board take any action to help encourage restaurants.
So
Well,
how
we're
do we do
here.
Well, that's what I'm asking for. And my thought was,
We
from-
need it because now we have. a
from
hot
an
shop.
educated perspective, I've been watching
I know.
what
Tony
other
gets
towns are
hungry.
doing. And I've been watching educational materials and they're saying these food truck things
they're a
turn
big hit.
into brick and
Yes,
mortar.
yes,
Yeah, I like
Because
that.
in which they
You have a
do.
guy that comes up with his
There's-
taco truck, but he can't afford to start a business, but then he starts making money at the taco truck and thinks,
That's-
everybody in Langsburg loves me.
Yes,
Can I move into a storefront?
yes.
I don't know who has a better idea, but I'm open for any of them.
That's how me and my mom are starting. We started with the table at the market and every year we get a little bigger. and Now we're opening a new little shop. And it's
I
ready
think
to
the
go.
food truck is a fabulous idea to
But I've
try to
also
bring
said
other stuff in.
before at
Yes.
previous meetings that I don't want to shove this down the restaurants and bars throat. We want to bring them in and talk to them about it and give them the numbers where, I mean, there's
Yeah, if we could
actual,
provide the
there's
positive.
actual studies out there that show more restaurants bring more money. I know,
Mhm.
you know, John is saying that that's not the case for marijuana, but I'm
Not yet,
telling you,
But it's gonna probably come.
how many times do you go downtown East Lansing and you eat one place, and while you're walking there, you see another one and you come back and you bring your friends? I mean,
Yep.
somebody else tell me how economic development works, because I apparently don't understand, but we are not attracting restaurants. We're losing them.
I think we
How do we
definitely
get
need
them?
to focus on this, and it is something that we should do, because if we're discussing being more, not touristy, we're not gonna be a tourist city, but like
we're
Sleepy
trying to
Hollow-
attract, you
Yeah,
know.
Sleepy Hollow is becoming really nice. It's becoming better and better. When I was a little kid, it was terrible.
Mhm.
But now it brings people in from all over and
You're
then,
you're thinking destination.
yeah, a
More of a
place to go. And
destination.
then you don't have to drive to Perry to go get food and then come back to Lynchburg.
I mean, I know you all read the community page, everybody posts, 3-hour wait for food, 2-hour wait for food. We just went out of town to eat. I mean, how much more of that can we sustain? Why are we bringing people into an amphitheater
And,
and sending them out of town to eat?
I agree.
and the thing is that
100%.
the bar is still gonna keep their clientele,
And I don't
no
care.
matter what.
What's that?
The bar is still gonna keep their clientele and they're still
Yeah,
gonna
and
have,
I didn't mean any disrespect.
No,
to
no, no,
tourism, but
I
mean,
totally get it, Jeff.
Yeah.
I really
But I
do.
mean, I
Yeah,
know, like,
but-
when I first brought up, people like, well, what about our events? Well, your events, have food trucks there, but we need food trucks more than Friday night.
Right.
We need
Right.
food trucks 3-4 nights a week, maybe every night. I don't know.
Well,
We don't know until we start trying it.
I think though, if we do, like, if we do want that permanent thing, I'm all for it. But I think we need to present all the positives to everybody before we move forward, because then there's gonna be a lot of naysayers.
And I don't, I mean.
I
hopefully I don't-
understand the
hopefully-
positives and
yeah,
negatives,
hopefully I
but
don't just
Well, I could see why
contradict what I said.
they think that.
yeah,
So the bar, Mike's not gonna be happy with it, right? Tammy's not gonna be.
but
happy
he
with it.
may be.
I'd
We
say,
might, but they're not gonna be happy if we bring in another restaurant. I mean, so to me, it's.
Right,
it's-
what's the
it's-
difference?
There's no
You're
difference.
saying,
there.
you're saying, right, you're
There's-
saying we
there's no
need more
difference.
restaurants.
We need more restaurants.
So
right.
whether we
Yeah.
bring in a
Right.
food truck or a restaurant,
To them,
I
it
mean,
ain't gonna
if
make
for
any
if you're a
difference.
food truck, obviously, you
Yeah.
have a little less overhead, you're not paying the taxes.
The
Right.
you're
more
not-
full we are, the
So
more
that-
we can drink. So we'll go to Twix.
Right on.
Well, making.
Or
food
walk
trucks
across
is
the
a great
street.
idea.
just
Right.
walk across the
But
street
incubator
first.
idea is fantastic.
Just
If
right
somebody's
down
doing
the
well,
road.
You guarantee the clients are gonna
I mean,
say,
I
you
think
need to
that-
make a store here.
Right, but I feel like that's the only way we're gonna start to attract people here is to get them here.
I agree.
They get here and they're gonna start going,
And you have.
hey, you know what, this is really working. Why do I wanna keep cooking out of this truck? Why don't I, open, because we have room for people.
And honestly, there is people that do not like to go to a bar to eat.
That's
You know,
true.
My
think
mom-
about that way. They don't
My
care
parents
to
don't
walk,
at all.
step foot inside a bar
But
to
literally,
eat,
we have, I mean,
anyway.
Someone
It's
going to
not
hear the
that-
music or the.
Exactly.
yeah,
Loud.
it's not that they're not trying.
Right.
Yeah.
They're jam packed on Wednesday nights when we have the music and the
Yeah.
farmers
Oh, yeah.
market.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
It's a- you
Yeah.
can't, you can't even eat there.
Packed, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And we,
Yeah.
on that
Wild.
same night, we have golf league, we have 100 people golfing.
Yep.
On Wednesday night. Do you know how many of them come down here? Not many
Not
anymore.
hardly anymore
We
because you
used
can't
to
get in
all come
anywhere.
down,
Yeah.
and now they don't. They
Well,
just
they
sit
used to
out
have
there
the
at the golf
specials.
course, they have a few drinks and they go home.
Yep, they used to have the
But we're
specials
losing
downtown.
100 people.
But even if we open up the river to kayak, I mean, people kayak, but if there's gonna be more traffic
Activities.
doing that,
Right.
that's gonna be a lot of hungry people coming in off the river
But that's my point is,
Yeah.
we keep trying to create this environment where we're inviting people in and we want them to come in and stay, but we're not keeping them here.
Well,
You're
and
right.
the other thing
Past
is with
20
a food
years.
truck too, you got the kids.
Hasn't happened.
No,
Yeah.
you know,
You got
I mean,
kids
I've-
that would go,
I've been
you got kids that
working,
would go to a food truck very quickly.
Yeah.
You know, that, because especially with the fries
And
and
my
things like that,
intent
they're gonna
would be
love
that
that, just like
we
the carnival food. you know.
somehow encourage them to move up into a building.
So how-
Somehow we provide incentives, somehow we
Right.
do
Yeah.
something to get them into buildings.
Yeah, how about if we'd say, you can be a food truck here for 3 years, but after that, you have to move into brick and mortar. I'm kidding.
I'm okay with it.
It may not be that soon, though, that's the problem.
I mean, there needs to be a way to make this work for everybody,
Right.
including our current bars and restaurants. We don't want to lose them either.
Right,
No,
we just want to see all the info that you're getting and we gotta put it out there.
and
'Cause
frankly,
Yeah.
I don't think if we got more bars or restaurants, we would.
I know that Sharon Wood's on the DDA and she has studies that say if you have a restaurant and it's earning, $10,000, you bring in a second restaurant, that one earns 20 and the next one earns 20. So if,
Yeah.
like, there's studies that show, and you go downtown or wherever you go, there's always lots of places to eat right next to each other.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like
most
any of them are
places.
suffering.
Yeah, Subway and Dairy Done don't suffer at all. They
No.
work together.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
So,
true.
Crepes and,
I mean, do you see lots of
Yeah.
little strip malls like that where they're all filled with food places?
She now is moving into the mobile. She now has a
I
trailer.
know.
Well, I told Subway he
I've already
needed a
invited
food
her
truck.
to
Go.
this thing.
No, I did. I'm like, you need a food truck because on Wednesday night, if they were to come down to the farmer's market or something, I think it would be awesome.
find so.
Or out to the golf course.
What happened with the food truck that was always down at the farmer's market before?
Before
The
I
taco
took
lady?
Yeah.
over, I guess something happened. I don't know exactly, but I know that she said, "Oh, I'm just done. I'm not gonna come back."
Between
Now I
me and
can't
Dina,
even-
she got lost. She loved me.
She loved me too. It's like Dina.
Okay.
She always gave me my popcorn.
Somewhere in the
Just
middle there,
curious.
something happened. and-
Yeah, and I don't know what it was. I have no clue. But, and I've tried numerous times. All y'all can call food trucks and be like, hey, just show up at the market and I'm willing to put them wherever there, because I can't
Absolutely.
get any there. at
Wednesday
all.
nights?
Yeah, I've called 50. I've had other people text.
We're trying to get a hold of them for
I
wedding
can't get
stuff, and
any.
we can't, they don't even return
Let
your
me see what I
calls.
can get.
Yeah,
But they're probably
the little
short-handed. like
Roosevelt
everybody
Row, one
else.
side of it.
I got a lady that I work with and her husband made one. And
I didn't
they
even have a
have
hot dog
theirs
guy
in
last
Charlotte.
year.
And they go to the bar outside of one of the bars in Olivet because that bar doesn't sell food.
I've seen a lot of
You know,
bars
and
that are
stuff
doing
like
that.
that. A lot of the bars are actually calling in
Yeah.
these food trucks.
But even like Twilligers,
Yeah.
I feel like it would help. Twilligers.
Oh, absolutely.
It would.
It would
because-
actually
Because
take
it
some
would
stuff
it would
off of them.
relieve some, you know, it
Exactly.
would leave their staff.
Yeah,
and,
Wednesday,
you know.
it's either
Talk
the
about
bar,
the,
like 2-3 hour wait, or my mom's molasses cookies. Like, those are your options.
It
And not
definitely
everybody wants
works.
cookies.
Even in like St. John's, there's Bellinger meat packing. you
yeah, they
know.
got that little.
Thank you guys so
Every
much.
once in a while.
Thanks, all.
Nice to meet you, folks.
Hey, and Roy,
Yep.
Corey said thank you.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, that place in St. John's.
Me too.
You buy meat, and then if there's a cart truck there, oh, I want some elephant ears or
Yeah.
whatever, and there's people lined up.
Exactly. And Bellinger's there, right there by French Road.
I just
Yeah.
feel like there's a way to
Exactly.
use them to help us.
Yeah.
There is, two examples of that, very similar thing. Ellison Brewing Company out
Yep.
in East Lansing. Detroit Frankie's was a food truck, I believe still is a food truck, but they have a permanent place now at the Ellison Brewing Company.
Nice.
Dimes Brew House in Diamondale, small little little brewer, they solely do food truck food there. They bring it, they have two or three rotating food trucks.
Like,
People love it.
Right.
People
So,
love
I
it.
mean, I just feel like there's a way to make it work for all of us.
I think we could definitely figure it out. I think the market should be involved as well.
Mhm.
I'm absolutely fine with that.
She pushing all that stuff on that. I don't. It's-
But anyways,
But
it was my idea. I asked Mike, hey, look, because I had people asking me, do food trucks need licenses, this, that, and the other? And I'm like, no, we don't do anything. And then somebody's like, well, shouldn't they need something? And I'm like, well, let me see, and Mike told me that there's stuff out there, and I think, it's just something that we need to
Well,
put
and
on
they
our
have to get the
radar.
one
I
from the
mean,
state,
if we're totally
anyway.
bettering our economy, I'm all for it. But if it is hurting them, which I don't think it will because of all the statistics or whatever, but I'm all for it.
Wow, so you convinced me with the, hey, we've been losing what restaurants we've got.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we can't get more back
And
in.
we can't get more back
No,
in. I
and,
mean,
and
so-
part of them
Yeah.
were very decent restaurants.
Like Lori's,
Can I say something? Remember when Cinders was here?
Yes,
That
absolutely.
place was packed.
I've been
And-
begging Dee to reopen.
Cinders.
I know, well, you know what, though, the young
It's
couple,
actually
remember that he
right
was the
down in-
chef and they were trying to
Down at
make
the
a go of
corner
it.
there.
When
Yeah.
they left, I just was so
Right next
upset.
to
I
the
said,
old
why are you guys
place.
thinking? She said, we can't
There
afford
used
the
to be a
lease. We can't
After
make
was
it.
Wild Furniture.
And they were
Yeah.
packed in that.
They
We
had-
go to
yeah,
eat there all
every
the
night.
time.
Almost every night they were
Packed,
packed,
packed, packed.
stuff like that.
Yep, I was so sad when they left. Yeah, they said, we
We've
can't
talked
afford
to
to
them
stay
trying
here,
to get
Lisa.
them back
We
to
can't
do
afford the lease.
It just,
Gotta
it
go.
takes a while, and then, we can also work with people to get assistance. With through the MEDC and some of these, business incubators and stuff like that, so.
So how would you encourage? I mean, it's one thing to come for music in the park or movies in the park or the, farmer's market. But how would you get them to come on a Tuesday? I'm just picking Tuesday.
I
right?
agree.
Just-
I mean, I don't
I-
understand it, but. if it
Honestly,
works,
it's
I'm
just
re-
asking them. honestly, it's
Yeah.
just asking them if they have that availability.
Well, we would just have
To
to really
possibly
start
show up.
promoting them.
It'd be a
You know,
sales pitch
things
to
like
them.
that.
Hey, look, we have
Exactly.
100 golfers here. Would you like to make some extra dough
I mean,
on
we- yep.
Tuesdays?
And I'm sure other nights there's golf leagues out
Oh,
there. And,
Well, just like tonight.
And there's
Monday night.
baseball and there's track and
Yeah.
there's, you know, I mean, there's
Yeah,
all of
'cause-
these other activities going on around town. But they're all lined up out the door at Subway. They're all waiting
Yeah.
2 hours downtown. I mean, or they're just, their parents are bringing home Taco Bell, you know, I
Yep.
mean, I don't know.
Yep.
Or they're posting, you know, well, we're going out of town to eat, because you see it all the time.
Yeah. You never
I
know.
eat out of town a lot, I do.
But it's a,
So one of the things that I was looking forward to about moving downtown was the ability to not get in a damn car and drive and go.
That is one
To a
of my
restaurant,
favorite
drive somewhere to
things.
do something.
That's
And
like
I,
one of my favorite
yeah,
things
and
in
I don't,
Lansbury.
I mean, sorry,
I've lived down
you
here
got two options.
I got two options.
lots of years
Yeah,
and
and one's only, yeah. Mhm.
you got one restaurant that, or the first place that serves food, but they close at what, 3 o'clock in the
Yeah,
afternoon?
right. Mhm.
You have a
No,
pizza
one.
place,
One.
or
One.
1 o'clock, is it 1?
12:45.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've been in that place once, to be honest with you, and that was early on a Saturday morning, because I wanted a donut, and I figured I'd try it, and I got it sitting.
Their donuts are good.
It was good, but it was like, you know, I'm not home when that place is open
Right,
normally during the day and
Right.
things like that. So when I get home, I actually only have two choices.
You.
And that's to either try to go walk into a bar where they're having pool tournaments or they're having their dart night, you know, things like that. So you've got to make sure that you're down there between 5 and 6 o'clock, really, to be able to try to eat in peace, so to speak,
Or not have to
before.
wait too long.
or not have to wait hours just to get your food, or you go to
PDP's doesn't have- They
PDP's.
don't have inside right now, do they? Or did they?
I don't
only
think
open-
so. I don't.
They
think-
haven't had it open for like. a
No,
year and a half.
and that was the thing, is they haven't had
It's just pick up
to
and
be able to
deliver
sit out
Or outside.
in there, you know, and I don't know, I'd like to lose some more of this, so eating more and more pizza doesn't work for that, you know?
Yeah.
Well, my thought is like a food court
Exactly.
You have to
So, like-
walk to it.
Well, there's
off of Roosevelt Road, like right where the farmer's market is, that little area, I'd like to make a food court and then put some picnic tables and some lights and
Mhm.
umbrellas and, you know, just start
Solid
inviting. food.
color umbrellas.
Yes,
Solid
Metal.
Metal.
Tables.
not Corona.
Yeah, and I did read what you got in
By the way,
here,
2 of those umbrellas.
and this sounds very, very good. The way that it's
I
worded
have
right
those in my
now and
truck.
things like that. I
My-
didn't see a
I
whole
have
lot. I
some
don't know
spares
if
in
you've
there.
really read over this or not. I don't think there's a whole lot that needs to be even
Oh, right.
looked at on here to change
No.
with the way that the wording is
Yeah.
and
I
everything.
I was good with that.
Yeah.
My only.
I mean,
concern is-
I don't want to discourage them.
No, not
The
at all.
thought is to encourage them. So
My
if there's
big
anything in
question,
there
though,
that, you know,
Is your license, what would the fee be?
we don't really want to charge anything.
And that's
We're not
where I
looking
was
to
getting
make
at,
money on it,
because
but is
we
that a
talked about the
problem with the
parking
other-
fee, you know,
Right, but
things
is
like
I
that.
mean, because we're trying to encourage it, but is that a problem with, I mean, if you're
Other
a regular
places.
business here, is
Right.
that a problem? But we don't charge businesses licenses.
Correct.
They just have to pay property taxes.
You know, because I mean, I'm sorry, but those food trucks, the amount of money that they have to shuck to the state just to be able to keep their licenses and to be
And
regular,
how often.
I mean, those are
Yeah.
regulated.
I
Very
think that, I mean, the thought
Yeah.
was just to encourage it, not to,
Okay.
the license is just basically
Okay.
to say, it's, you're cool.
I agree with that one.
You're allowed-
100%.
Rules.
We
Once you
checked
know
it.
they're there.
Yeah, we
All it
check you out,
takes.
we have your contact information,
Yep.
if something goes wrong, if we need to get
That's-
a hold of you.
Yep.
That's what I was
It's
looking for.
mainly for that. We
You
don't
know,
want to
honestly.
regulate it in a sense that we have to start tracking money and all that stuff. It's just to like,
And it serves those businesses too, in the fact that if somebody were to come up and say, hey, can you be here right now? They can see it, we have a license.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it just sounds like we have a promotion problem. We just need to promote it more for
for
the
sure.
times that we're busy.
And I think that we're busy a lot more times than people
Yeah.
realize.
Oh,
I think so,
absolutely.
too.
Yeah, I
This
didn't know you
summer-
had 100 golfers until you said it.
On
I
Wednesday
No,
know- I
night.
know
on
he
Wednesday,
goes,
on
but-
Wednesday nights, oh,
Yeah, I
yeah,
had no clue.
it's been that way for years.
But there's
and
a Monday league, a Tuesday
Yeah.
league. I mean, there's a
Sunday,
league.
well, Sunday,
Yeah.
I
you know,
go
because a
from
lot of
Tuesday
the,
night
lot of the
to Wednesday, I go to
golfers,
DeWitt.
Sunday mornings.
We
See?
had darts on, yeah, we had darts on Thursday and that was,
You're foiling the city
Yeah.
plan.
So do we need,
And
do we need a
we play
motion?
euchre.
I don't,
No, this
For
would go with
this is-
those
or is
language
this-
amendments
okay.
then?
They'll
Okay.
be
This
next month.
actually, this is not a zoning.
Oh, this is
This
a,
would be a recommendation to council to take action.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
because this
make the
would go-
motion to accept the wording and recommendations to council with what you have here for the ordinance.
So no, minor. And based on what you just asked, I had the same question about fees. I think that needs to be spelled out in there.
So
About the no fee
The no
license,
fee,
it's just they
yes.
have to apply for the
They need to
license to be
apply,
able to be
yes.
here.
Because I read it.
I
through
would
and said,
agree there,
Okay,
yes.
what's the fee? What's the-
So typically, the way they like to,
Yeah.
the way.
you don't
that
want
I've
that in
seen
your
this
ordinance,
done-
you want to put in there that the council
Exactly.
will.
Okay.
Okay,
Council's
Because
gonna,
if you put it in your ordinance, anytime the fee changes,
You gotta
Yeah.
redo-
then-
oh, you gotta redo the whole thing. Gotcha.
It's
Okay,
just the-
okay.
yeah, It's just a resolution for the fees at
Gotcha.
that point. and you
To
can-
bring it to here, and really the council's gonna make that notification.
Council would hold a public hearing and
Yep.
they would pursue this as just like a police power ordinance
Mhm.
to amend their code of ordinances. So go right after that marijuana language for the licensing.
Gotcha.
That's how we have it structured right now. It's
Yep.
that, chapter 18. Big numbering goes through mid 300s for the marijuana. This would go this would be in the 400 mark.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a clear
Okay,
set of
we have a
rules moving
motion.
forward.
do we have a second? All in favor, say aye.
I,
All opposed?
all not in favor.
All not in favor. Hey,
I was gonna say, you got that worded right.
all right, last thing. Wow. So we get to other items. Language for use of alleys.
I do not have any language for it yet.
Okay.
But the
Don't we
update
need to
is
still go over that?
he went out, we did go
We
look
looked
at it
Yeah,
together.
we went and looked at it. I have put together a summary for some of the staffers for press and community services. We're gonna provide a memo and outline the different options, because really, I think the biggest thing that I kind of got talking with Paula, kind of talking with the planning commission here, is that we need to do, whatever we do, we need to make sure that we're doing it correctly and that we know our options before we pursue it. Because really, the option, this potentially taking additional right of way there and through, whatever means eminent domain or
Yep.
whatever that
Yep.
is. That's not going to necessarily be the most popular option, especially if you're doing it off the cuff. So we just want everybody to see what
Don't
we
take
can
any
do.
of my property. then.
Yeah, that's right. So we
Actually,
don't
I
have a
don't-
memo yet.
I
but
don't think I have any faith.
So you're gonna get more of that
We're
around for
gonna get a memo
review.
for you, and yeah, I'm shooting for next month.
Okay.
I think that's very.
So
think
next
that's very
month, we gotta read it.
Oh, man, y'all better be awake.
No, you put it on your iPhone, highlight, speak.
I don't have an iPhone.
We'll meet somewhere. Put it on speakerphone.
All
Over
right,
the
so next
internet.
month you'll have that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other items? So next month, we're going to have the proposed language amendments for outdoor use, fee in lieu of parking, fencing, height limits. Language for regulation of food trucks for next month or not?
So,
No.
No,
that's,
This will go to
That's just
council.
going to
That's going to
council.
council, yeah, sorry. Language for use of alleys, right? And then the update, the recommendation to council for the marijuana establishments will go to them.
We'll just keep getting updates on the A1
Everyone
storage.
storage,
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
provide an update there. So really what I'm gonna be bringing back to you next month, the changes that we bring back to you next month, are the outdoor use ordinance and
Parking,
the alley.
the alley stuff.
Yeah.
The alley. Yeah, everything else is the same.
Mhm.
And that, or going to council. for them to take action.
Okay,
That's it.
do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion to
I'll
adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second? All right, done. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Don't forget to mark me president now.
I did. I marked.
6 minutes late.
Once I heard you on the phone, I marked you
Yeah,
president.
I had you on speaker. I don't mind.
No, that's quite all right.
I don't know, do you know what you said?
Oh, crap.
No, I'm
First
just
thing I said
kidding.
was, oh, I forgot. Thankfully,
I
I'm
didn't
only
have
less
to-
than my whole day.
I didn't even have to ask anything.
They certainly do.
Yes.
Yeah,
You do a lot of stuff with
Am I allowed my one party for the year? That was it.
that's it. We got, you know, he's in charge, so you're gonna have to answer.
Jeff, did you get your reciprocal?
I haven't gone down.
Okay, it's there with the one that I bought is still on it. I hit a nail with it, so there's a couple, there's one spot. But yours is right.
Perfect. Did it work, but it worked for you? Timing,
Fantastic.
timing was good.
Oh, it's perfect. It just, all
Well,
I
I
did
was
was,
from getting it back to you.
oh yeah, it was perfect. I was just gonna go buy one the next day if I could.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had to get it done, because we just got the fridge. We had two fridges sitting in our kitchen.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when you called, it's like, oh, I know exactly where that is. Oh,
That was very
and
handy.
it's right, and we're coming home tonight. The timing was like. Wow.
It had to have been meant to be because, you know, we had two refrigerators sitting in our kitchen area. It's like, okay, one's gotta go somewhere. My son and I